I wanted my boyfriend to love my kids, but I refused to accept his daughter. Now he wants to leave me. He's selfish, and I'm not here to raise another woman's child. When I met Diego, I was already a complete package. A package with two extra pieces: my children, Mateo aged 10 and Valentina, aged 8. For years, it was just me against the world. A single mother juggling work, school, soccer games, and nightly nightmares. My life was a controlled chaos, and romantic love was a luxury I did not think I could afford. What man would voluntarily want to get on a ship that was already sailing in the middle of a storm? Then Diego appeared, and not only did he get on the ship, but he took an oar and started rowing with me. From the beginning, I was honest. I told him, "This is me, and these are my children. They are my priority, my universe. If you cannot handle that, it is better you say so now." He smiled at me, told me he admired my strength and that he would love to meet them. And it was magical. Diego did not see my children as an obstacle. He saw them as part of me. He learned the names of their favorite superheroes. He came to Mateo's games, even if it was pouring rain, and he had the patience of a saint to help Valentina with her art projects. He became part of our small and tight-knit unit. He became our pillar. For the first time in years, I felt I could breathe. We built a family, our family, the four of us, pizza and movie nights, pillow fights, Sundays in the park. He fit perfectly into the puzzle of our lives. He was the piece we were missing. Of course, I knew he had his own past. He had a daughter, Sofia, from a previous relationship that ended a long time ago, but it was never a real problem. The girl lived in another city with her mother, hundreds of kilometers away. Diego spoke with her on the phone, visited her on vacation a couple of times a year. She was an abstract part of his life, a story from a previous chapter. He had chosen our present, he had chosen our family, our unit of four. That was the unspoken agreement. He accepted me and my two children, and, in return, I gave him all the love and stability a man could wish for. It was a perfect balance, one that I believed would last forever. Our balance was so perfect that I began to believe it was indestructible. Diego and I started talking about the future, a real future. We talked about buying a bigger house, about getting married someday. I allowed myself to dream again, imagining a life where I was not alone at the helm. My children called him by his name, but with the kind of affection and trust reserved for a father. Mateo asked him for help with science models, and Valentina insisted that he read her a bedtime story. We were a sealed, happy, and functional unit. The crack appeared on a Tuesday night. Diego came home later than usual, with a worried expression I had never seen on him. While I was serving dinner, he stood in the kitchen with his phone in his hand. He told me he had been talking to his ex-wife, Sofia's mother. An incredible job opportunity had come up for her, a 2-year project abroad, a promotion that would change her career. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The only problem was that she could not take Sofia, who is now 12 years old. Not right away, at least. The move was complicated. I nodded, listening with that superficial sympathy one has for the problems of others that do not affect you. I said something like, "Wow, what a dilemma for her." That is when Diego dropped the bomb. He did it with a naturalness that made my blood run cold. He said, "So we have talked about it, and we have decided that the best thing is for Sofia to come live with us." The lasagna ladle fell from my hand onto the counter. I looked at him, hoping it was a joke, but his face was completely serious. He was worried, yes, but also relieved, as if he had found the perfect solution to a logistical problem. "Live with us," I repeated, and my voice sounded strange, distant. "Yes," he said, smiling for the first time. "It would be amazing, do you not think? She could have her own room, go to the same school as the kids. Finally, we would be a complete family. The 5 of us. The 5 of us." The word resonated in my head like an alarm bell. We were not 5, we were 4. That was the equation that worked. The arrival of his daughter was not a simple addition. It was an unknown variable that threatened to unbalance everything. My mind raced, looking for excuses, logical reasons to reject what my instinct was screaming. I told him, "But, Diego, she is a teenager, we barely know her." How would it affect Matteo and Valentina? Our house is not that big. He dismissed my concerns with a wave of his hand. He said the children would adapt, that they are resilient, that love makes space expand, that it would be good for Sophia to have siblings. But I was not thinking about what was good for Sophia. I was thinking about me. I was thinking about my years of sacrifice, the sleepless nights, the hardships I overcame alone to create a stable and safe environment for my children. I had built this sanctuary with my own hands. And now he wanted to introduce a stranger, his daughter, into the center of our universe. I'm not here to take care of another woman's children. The thought was so clear and sharp it scared me. I had already done my share of diapers, night fevers, school dramas. I had paid my dues. Diego's arrival was supposed to be my reward, my chance to have a partner, not to become the stepmother of a resentful teenager. I told him it was a very big decision, that we had to talk about it more calmly, but he did not seem to understand my reluctance. He thought my concerns were purely practical. He did not understand that my objection was fundamental. He had been accepted into my family. That did not mean I had to accept all of his. The following days were a silent Cold War. Diego spoke about the topic as if it were a done deal. He would mention things like, could we put a desk in the guest room for when Sophia does her homework? Or, I read that the kids' school has an excellent music program. Sophia will love it. Each of his sentences was like a small stab to my sense of security. He was redesigning our world, our sanctuary, without my real consent. He was acting as if my agreement was a mere formality. My resentment began to grow, transforming from a small seed of unease into a tree with deep and bitter roots. The final confrontation came on Saturday. The children were at their grandparents' house, and we were alone. Diego opened his laptop on the dining room table and showed me pictures of Sophia. She was a pretty girl with the same smile as her father. He told me, "Is she not so excited to come? She asked me if you were nice. I told her you were the most incredible woman in the world." His words, which should have softened me, had the opposite effect. They made me feel like a hypocrite. He was selling his daughter a version of me that did not exist. I did not feel incredible. I felt cornered. I took a deep breath and told him as calmly as I could, but my voice trembled with contained anger. I told him, "Diego, I cannot do this. I do not want your daughter to come live with us." He looked at me confused, as if he had not understood my words. He asked me why, and then I let it all out. I told him that I had not signed up for that I accepted him, but that being a full-time stepmother to a teenager was not part of the deal. I told him that I had already raised my children, that it was my turn to have some peace, to have a partner for myself, not to start over with someone else's dramas. I told him, my voice heavy with the injustice of it all, I'm not here to take care of another woman's children. The confusion on his face faded, replaced by an expression of disbelief that slowly turned into a disappointment so deep it hurt me to see it. He was silent for a long time, looking at me as if he were seeing me for the first time, and when he finally spoke, his voice was low and controlled. He said, "You accepted my love, you accepted my help, you accepted my presence in your children's lives, but you cannot accept my daughter." I told him it was not the same. My children were here from the beginning. They were part of the original package. His daughter was an addendum. A change in the terms of the contract that I had not signed. He shook his head, a sad, bitter smile on his face. He said, "There was never a contract. I thought we were building a family, but now I see that you only allowed me to join yours under your conditions. My children are welcome, your daughter is not. Do you not see the hypocrisy in that?" It was not hypocrisy, it was self-protection. It was defending the boundaries of the life I had built. He saw it as a rejection of his daughter. I saw it as a defense of my family, ours, the four of us. The conversation ended there. Diego closed his laptop, stood up, and said he needed to go out for some air. As I watched him walk out the door, I felt no guilt. I felt a righteous indignation. He had accepted me with my children. Yes, but that was different. I was a single mother in need. He was a man looking for a family. He needed me and my family structure as much as I needed him. But now, with this request, he was demanding too much. He was asking for a sacrifice I was not willing to make, and he dared to make me feel like the bad guy for it. Diego did not come back that night. He did not answer my calls or my messages. The next day, when the children came home, I had to make up an excuse about him having to leave for a work emergency. Their disappointed faces were two little daggers in my heart, but I quickly transformed that pain into anger towards Diego. How dare he disappear like that, punishing my children for an argument between us. He showed up on Monday afternoon, just before I got home from work. He was sitting on the couch, waiting for me. The children were already home and, from the tense silence in the air, I knew something was terribly wrong. Valentina was in her room and Mateo was playing on his console, but without his usual enthusiasm. Diego looked at me when I came in. There was no trace of Saturday's disappointment. His expression was one of resolute calm, which was much worse. He told me we needed to talk. I told him not in front of the children. He nodded and said he would wait until they fell asleep. The next few hours were torture. We feigned normality during dinner. I helped the children with their homework. I gave them a bath. Every step of the routine felt like a countdown to an explosion. When I finally put them to bed, I went back to the living room, where Diego was waiting for me. He did not beat around the bush. He told me, "I have been thinking a lot these past 2 days. I have thought about everything we have built and I have realized something." I waited with my heart in my throat. He continued, "I have realized that love is not an a la carte menu where you choose the parts you like and leave the ones you do not. I chose you, and that means I chose your whole world, including Mateo and Valentina. I love them as if they were my own, and I thought you had done the same with me." I interrupted him. I told him, "But it is not the same, Diego. Your daughter has a mother. My children only had me." He looked at me, and for the first time I saw a spark of anger in his calm eyes. He said, "And now my daughter needs me, she needs her father, and her father lives here. I thought this was our home, but you have made it very clear that this is your home, and I'm just a long-term guest. A guest who is allowed to stay as long as he follows the rules." He stood up and started pacing the room. Then he stopped and looked at me directly, and then he said it, the words that broke everything. "I cannot be with someone who sees my daughter as a burden. I cannot build a future with someone who rejects a fundamental part of who I'm. I cannot and I will not. I'm sorry, but this is over." The word over hung in the air. I could not believe it. He was leaving me. He was leaving me and my children for a girl who did not even live with us, for a hypothetical situation. Panic seized me. I told him he was exaggerating, that we could find a solution. Maybe Sophia could go to a nearby boarding school, maybe her mother could hire a nanny. I looked for any alternative. He just shook his head. He told me the solution was not where Sophia was going to live, that the problem was my attitude. The problem was that I had asked him to choose between his happiness and his daughter, and that he would never, ever choose his own happiness over his daughter. And then I understood. There was nothing I could say. He was not asking for my opinion, he was communicating a decision. He had drawn a line in the sand and I, in protecting my family, had ended up on the wrong side of that line. Diego moved out the next day. It was quick, efficient, brutal. He packed his things in a couple of boxes while the children were at school. When we got home, he was simply gone. He told Mateo and Valentina that he had to go away for work for a while. A white lie that I knew I would have to undo later. He promised to call them, and he has. He talks to them every other day, but the conversations are awkward, full of a pain they do not understand. Now the house is quiet again. It is the same silence that was there before he arrived, but now it feels different. Before it was a silence of independence, now it is a silence of abandonment. And the anger. I feel it constantly, an undercurrent that poisons everything. I'm furious with him. How could he do this to us? How could he abandon the children he claimed to love as his own? Mateo asked me last night, with tear-filled eyes, if they had done something wrong. Valentina still sets a place for him at the table, and I have to swallow my rage and tell them it is not their fault. But if it is anyone's fault, it is Diego's. He accuses me of hypocrisy, but the real hypocrisy is his. For 2 years, he played the perfect father to my children. He reveled in our gratitude, in our love. He enjoyed the instant family I provided him. But the moment he was asked to truly contribute, the moment he was asked to integrate a piece of his own messy past into our perfect present, he backed out and destroyed everything we had built. He says I rejected his daughter. I did not reject her. I rejected the disruption, the chaos, the injustice of the situation. I rejected being expected to take on a burden that was not mine after having carried my own alone for so long. He accepted me with my children because it suited him. It offered him a complete, ready-to-use family life. But I'm not a foster institution. I'm a woman who has already made her sacrifices and who deserves a partner, not another responsibility. So yes, he is gone and I'm alone again. My friends look at me with pity, not really understanding my position. They think I was selfish. They do not understand that I was protective. I was protecting my children, my peace of mind, the sanctuary I had worked so hard to create. Diego was a guest in that sanctuary, and when he tried to tear down the walls to let in his own past, I simply asked him to stop, and for that he decided to burn it all down. He is not a hero or a selfless father. He is a selfish man who preferred the idea of his daughter over the reality of the family he already had. And my children and I are the victims of his choice. Popular comments from Reddit. Anonymous User 1. Let me see if I understand this. You wanted him to be a father to your children, but you refused to be a mother to his. And somehow he is the hypocrite. This has to be a joke. Protagonist's response. It is not the same, and I'm tired of having to explain it. My children were part of the present when he arrived. His daughter was part of a past that he decided to bring into the present without my consent. I did not sign up for that. I was defending the family structure he chose to join. Anonymous User 2. He did not ask you to take care of another woman's children. He asked you to make room in your family for his daughter, the same family where he made room for your children. You gave him an ultimatum, either your children or his. He made the only decent decision a father can make. Anonymous User 3. You are incredibly selfish. He gave all his support and love to you and your children, and the moment he needed your support, you turned your back on him. You did not lose him because of his daughter, you lost him because you showed him that your love was completely conditional and transactional. Protagonist's response. My love was not transactional. My peace of mind is. After years as a single mother, I deserved a partner, not a new set of parenting problems. He unilaterally changed the terms of our relationship and expected me to smile and accept. I'm not a martyr. I'm a woman with boundaries, and apparently that is a crime these days. Update 1. It has been 3 weeks. 3 weeks since Diego packed his life into some boxes and erased 2 years of history as if it were nothing. I have read the comments accusing me of selfishness, saying he made the right decision. It is clear that none of you have been a single mother who has fought for every crumb of peace and stability only to have a man come along and expect you to sacrifice it all again. Life has returned to normal, my old normal, and it is hell. I'm back to being me alone against the world. Mornings are a race against the clock, afternoons are a marathon of homework and activities, and nights are a pit of lonely exhaustion. All the weight Diego had lifted from my shoulders has come crashing back down on me, but this time it weighs twice as much, because now I know what it is like not to carry it. But my exhaustion is not the worst part. The worst part is seeing my children's faces. Mateo has become quiet, introverted. He has stopped asking about Diego, which is somehow worse than when he did. He simply assumes he is gone forever. Valentina is the one who breaks my heart every day. She still makes drawings of the 4 of us. The other day she gave me one and said, "This is for when Diego comes back from his work trip." I had to smile and tell her it was beautiful while feeling my heart break in two. And Diego, oh Diego, he still calls. He calls every other day as promised, a 10-minute call to talk to the children. And this is the cruelest part of all. He gets to be the fun, distant father on the phone, ask them about their day, laugh at their jokes, and then hang up, free of responsibilities. Meanwhile, I'm the one who has to deal with the tears after the call, the one who has to dry the wet pillows at night, the one who has to answer the impossible question, why does he not live here with us anymore? He has turned me into the villain of the story, the one who stands between them and their happiness. I found out the definitive truth last week. A mutual friend, not knowing the severity of the situation, dropped it on me casually. She told me she had seen Diego. He was signing the lease for a 2-bedroom apartment, not far from here. She said he looked excited, that he was telling the real estate agent that he needed space for when his daughter arrived in the city. So there it is. He did not go to a hotel. He did not go to a friend's house. He went straight to building a new nest, a nest for him and for her. He did not just leave me, he replaced me. He replaced our family with his, the original one, the one that really mattered to him. Our life together, the love he said he felt for my children, it was all temporary. It was a placeholder until his real family needed him. And the moment they did, he discarded us as if we were a rough draft. He did not care about the damage he would cause. He did not care about Mateo's and Valentina's hearts. He only cared about his own blood. And I'm the selfish one for not wanting to be a part of that. The world is truly upside down. Final update. It has been almost 3 months. Life has found a new rhythm, a sadder, heavier one. I have explained to the children, as gently as I could, that Diego and I have broken up and that he will not be living with us again. There have been many tears and questions to which I have no honest answers that would not destroy them. So I resort to white lies. It is a grown-up situation. Sometimes things do not work out. He will always love them. Every word tastes like ash in my mouth. The event that has led me to write this, the final point of this saga, happened last Saturday. It was Mateo's first soccer game of the season. I went alone like before. I sat in the stands trying to cheer with an enthusiasm I did not feel. Halfway through the game, a familiar figure appeared at the edge of the field. It was Diego. He was wearing a baseball cap, but I recognized him instantly. My heart skipped a beat, a toxic mix of hope and rage. He had come to see me, to talk, to apologize, but he was not alone. Next to him was a tall, thin girl with long, dark hair, watching the game with a shy expression. It was Sophia, his daughter. He had come to my son's game and brought his daughter. The audacity took my breath away. Mateo saw him from the field. I could see the exact moment their eyes met. My son's face lit up with a smile so pure and radiant that it hurt me physically. At the end of the game, Mateo ran straight to him, ignoring me completely. Diego lifted him up in a giant hug. They laughed. Then Diego said something to Mateo and gently turned him to face Sophia. I saw my son, my shy Mateo, hold out his hand. I saw Sophia smile and shake it. I stayed in the stands, invisible. I was watching a scene from a life that was not mine, the family he wanted, forming before my eyes on the remains of mine. It was not a replacement, it was a merger, one that I had rejected. I got up and left. None of them noticed I was leaving. As I drove home, with the passenger seat empty and the silence echoing in my ears, the final truth was revealed to me. It is not that Diego did not love me. It is not that he did not love my children. It is that his love is bigger, more expansive than mine. I see love as a limited resource, a cake that must be divided into smaller and smaller pieces. If a new person comes in, my piece gets smaller. I love protectively, defensively. I build walls to keep what is mine safe. Diego loves differently. For him, love is not a cake, it is a fire. Adding a new log does not take heat from the others, it simply makes the fire burn stronger. And that is the tragedy. He offered me a fire, and I offered him walls. He brought me his daughter not to replace mine, but to add her to our circle. And I, in my fear and my selfishness born of sacrifice, saw it as an invasion. I'm not a bad person. I'm a person who has fought so hard and for so long that I have forgotten how not to fight. I have forgotten how to open the door instead of barricading it. Diego did not leave me for his daughter. He left me because he saw that my walls were too high and that I no longer remembered where I had put the key to open the door. And now I'm here, safe inside my walls, but terribly alone. And the only warmth I feel is that of the ashes of the family I myself helped to burn.